Your daily habits, choices, and focus determine the person you become. Right now, you have the power to design a life where growth isn't accidental, it's guaranteed. In the next few minutes, you'll discover clear, practical steps to build yourself, strengthen your discipline, and create routines that push you forward every single day. This video will show how to prioritize high-value tasks, turn challenges into opportunities, and steadily improve without getting stuck in frustration or doubt. By the end, you'll have actionable strategies you can apply immediately to make measurable progress toward your goals. Every tip is designed to be realistic, simple, and powerful, helping you take control of your growth starting today. Stay focused, take notes, and use these insights to transform effort into results. Subscribe to Audiobook Shift for more content that inspires consistent self-improvement and lasting success. Number 1. Master habits that fuel growth. Mastering habits that fuel growth is the cornerstone of transforming your life. It is the steady, quiet work done every day that accumulates into massive, undeniable results over time. Growth does not happen overnight, and it does not come from bursts of motivation or fleeting inspiration. Understanding habits begins with recognizing that they are more than just repetitive actions. They are the architecture of your character. Every decision you make, every action you repeat, is a brick in the house of your life. If the habits you follow are random, weak, or undirected, the house will be unstable, and its walls may crumble under pressure. If, however, the habits you embrace are purposeful, disciplined, and aligned with your goals, the house becomes unshakable. Growth-focused habits are the ones that serve your long-term development, strengthen your mind and body, and push you toward the life you envision. They are habits that nurture resilience, sharpen focus, and cultivate self-mastery. The first step to mastering these habits is clarity. You cannot build what you cannot see. Define what growth looks like for you in tangible terms. Is it intellectual growth through reading and learning? Is it physical growth through disciplined exercise and nutrition? Is it emotional growth through reflection and self-awareness? Whatever your focus, identify the habits that directly contribute to that growth. This clarity acts as a compass, ensuring that every action, no matter how small, points toward your larger goal. Without it, effort can scatter and energy can dissipate without producing meaningful results. Once clarity is established, the next step is intentionality. Habits do not form by accident. They require a conscious decision and repeated action. Start by choosing one habit that will have a significant impact on your growth. Focus on mastering that habit before layering additional ones. For example, if mental clarity and knowledge are priorities, committing to reading a set number of pages every day builds an intellectual foundation that compounds over time. If physical endurance is your target, committing to daily exercise strengthens your body and builds discipline that spills into other areas of life. By concentrating your efforts on one habit at a time, you prevent them and create a strong precedent for success. Consistency is the engine that drives habit mastery. A single act of growth is powerful in theory, but its real value emerges only through repetition. The most transformative habits are those performed daily. Without exception, they do not rely on mood, inspiration, or motivation. They are practiced even when energy is low, when distractions are abundant, and when life feels difficult. Growth habits become second nature when repetition ingrains them into the fabric of your routine. Over time, the discomfort of maintaining them diminishes, and they become part of who you are. Discipline turns into momentum, and momentum fuels further growth. Environment plays a crucial role in supporting or sabotaging your habits. Humans are highly influenced by their surroundings, and a cluttered, chaotic, or negative environment will drain your energy and willpower. Arrange your space to reinforce the habits you are trying to cultivate. If your goal is reading and intellectual growth, create a dedicated, inviting space where learning is easy and distractions are minimal. If your goal is physical strength, ensure your workout equipment is accessible and your environment encourages movement. Your surroundings should constantly nudge you toward the behaviors you want to make automatic. Tracking progress is another essential element. Without measurement, it is impossible to know whether your habits are effective or whether adjustments are needed. Keep a record of your daily actions, even if it is as simple as a checklist or journal entry. Observe patterns, celebrate milestones, and identify obstacles. The act of recording reinforces accountability and provides tangible evidence of growth, which fuels motivation and reinforces the habit loop. Seeing progress, even incremental, creates a sense of accomplishment that propels continued effort and commitment. Equally important is the concept of habit stacking. Powerful growth habits often reinforce one another, creating a network of behaviors that support overall development. For instance, a morning routine that includes stretching, journaling, and reading establishes a foundation for mental, emotional, and physical growth. Each habit primes the next, creating momentum that carries you through the day. By deliberately linking habits that align with your growth objectives, you reduce friction and enhance consistency, making it easier to sustain disciplined behavior over time. The psychological aspect of habit formation cannot be overlooked. Self-talk, mindset, and emotional resilience shape the ease with which habits take root. Treat the process as a personal experiment rather than a test of willpower. Understand that lapses are inevitable, but they do not define your trajectory. Use setbacks as information to refine your approach rather than as reasons to quit. Growth is a process, not a final destination, and maintaining a calm, focused, and disciplined mindset allows you to weather challenges without losing momentum. Another dimension of habit mastery involves pruning. Just as critical as forming growth habits is eliminating those that drain energy or distract from your goals. Habits like excessive screen time, procrastination, or mindless consumption of entertainment consume time and willpower that could be directed toward constructive behaviors. Identify these counterproductive patterns and replace them gradually with positive alternatives. The removal of negative habits creates space for growth, and intentional pruning reinforces your commitment to becoming a better version of yourself. Patience is the quiet partner of habit mastery. Transformative habits rarely yield immediate results. The value of daily reading, disciplined exercise, or structured reflection compounds over months and years. Recognizing that growth is incremental allows you to remain steadfast even when progress seems invisible. Trust in the process and honor the long-term benefits of consistent effort. Like a tree growing from a seed, the most profound changes are often invisible at first but reveal themselves through time, perseverance, and care. The final aspect of mastering habits that fuel growth is reflection. Take time regularly to review the habits you have cultivated, evaluate their effectiveness, and refine them as necessary. Ask yourself which actions have the greatest impact, which ones feel sustainable, and where you can increase efficiency. Reflection transforms habit from mere routine into conscious, adaptive practice. It ensures that every action continues to serve your overarching purpose and aligns with the life you are building. Ultimately, mastering habits that fuel growth is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about showing up every day, making choices that reinforce your long-term objectives, and refusing to be swayed by temporary discomfort or distractions. It is a deliberate practice of self-discipline, awareness, and resilience that gradually transforms your life. Each habit you nurture strengthens your character, enhances your capabilities, and moves you closer to the person you aspire to become. Growth is not a destination but a journey, and the habits you cultivate are the tools that carry you forward with confidence, purpose, and momentum. By focusing on clarity, intentionality, consistency, environment tracking, habit stacking, mindset, pruning, patience, and reflection, you create a comprehensive framework for habit mastery. Each element reinforces the others, creating a self-sustaining cycle of improvement that propels you toward your goals. These practices are not abstract principles. They are actionable steps you can implement today to build a life defined by growth, discipline, and achievement. The more deliberate and persistent you are in cultivating habits that serve your development, the more unstoppable you become, and the closer you move to realizing your full potential. Habits, when properly mastered, are not just routines. They are the engine of transformation, the pathway to personal excellence, and the foundation upon which all growth is built. This is your roadmap. It is not theoretical. It is practical, actionable, and proven. Every day you commit to these habits is another day you are constructing the life you want, brick by brick, step by step. The grind of daily habit mastery guarantees growth, because it aligns your daily actions with your highest aspirations. Discipline becomes your ally, consistency becomes your habit, and growth becomes inevitable. Number 2, track progress. Adjust every day. Tracking progress and adjusting every day is the practical backbone of serious self-improvement. Measurement turns vague intention into concrete work. Without a reliable record, effort floats without direction. When each day includes a short, disciplined check of what moved forward and what did not, incremental gains become predictable and manageable. This process removes guesswork and replaces it with clear signals that guide decisions. The daily habit of monitoring progress creates a cycle where action produces feedback, feedback inspires correction, and correction improves results. Start by choosing a small number of meaningful things to measure. 3 is a useful maximum for daily focus. Pick one that reflects effort, hours of focused work, sets completed or pages read. Pick a second that signals quality, accuracy rate, average focus duration, or comprehension level. Pick a third that shows outcomes, clients contacted, problems solved, or savings added. Avoid measuring everything. Too many metrics create noise and waste energy. The goal is not to collect data for its own sake, but to produce clear, relevant information that shows whether your current actions are effective. Define what a single data point looks like, and make recording it as easy as possible. Use a simple scale, for example, 1 to 5, or record absolute numbers when appropriate. If tracking focus, record the number of uninterrupted focus blocks and the average length in minutes. If tracking learning, note pages or chapters completed and one new idea applied. If tracking fitness, record minutes of effort and a perceived exertion rating. The physical act of writing these numbers down reinforces commitment. The weight of a pen, the scratch of ink on paper, or the brief tap to open a tracking app creates a tiny ritual that anchors the practice. Create a short daily review ritual that fits into the day without adding friction. 10 minutes is enough. Schedule it at a consistent time, first thing in the morning to set priorities, at midday to correct course, or at night to close the day with clarity. During this review, check the 3 chosen metrics. Note 1 success, 1 failure, and 1 adjustment for the next day. Make the adjustment specific. Change the start time of work by 15 minutes. Reduce social media to a set window. Increase the number of practice repetitions by 2. Small, precise changes are easier to implement and test than sweeping overhauls. Use leading and lagging indicators intentionally. Leading indicators are actions you control now and that predict future progress, like the number of practice sessions. Lagging indicators show results that happen later, such as test scores or revenue. Prioritize tracking leading indicators daily because they offer immediate signals you can act on. Lagging indicators should be reviewed on a weekly or monthly cadence to check whether the leading actions are producing the intended outcome. Design simple triggers that prompt recording and small adjustments. A trigger could be the end of a work block, the completion of a meal, or a notification at sunset. Pair the trigger with one quick action. Mark today's metric. Write 1 sentence about why progress deviated, and set 1 concrete tweak for tomorrow. Building this mechanic makes adjustment habitual rather than optional. Over time, the brain begins to expect the ritual and compliance becomes easier. Keep a short log of context alongside numbers. Numbers alone miss essential color. Record what interfered or what helped: interruptions, energy level, sleep quality, or an unexpected insight. This context reveals patterns that pure metrics often hide. A week of lower productivity with poor sleep points to recovery, rather than a motivational problem. An unexpected spike after a change in routine identifies a small intervention worth repeating. Context turns raw data into usable knowledge. Use a weekly synthesis to convert daily notes into strategy. At the end of each week, dedicate 30 minutes to review patterns. Compare the 3 daily metrics across 7 days, highlight consistent trends, and list experiments to run the following week. Each experiment should test a single variable so conclusions are clear. For example, test a different start time while keeping work block length constant. If performance improves, keep the new time. This disciplined approach prevents false attribution and accelerates learning. Adopt an experimental mindset toward adjustments. Treat changes as short, low-cost experiments that produce evidence. Set a hypothesis, choose a single variable to change, run the experiment for a fixed period, and measure results. This process avoids emotional reactivity. When results are disappointing, the evidence explains why and what to try next. When results are unexpectedly positive, the evidence indicates practices to scale. Experiments keep progress iterative and data-driven. Create simple thresholds that trigger specific corrective actions. For instance, if average focus blocks drop below 2 per day for 3 consecutive days, implement a corrective routine. Add 1 short walk before work, reduce open tabs to 1, and block notifications for the next 2 work sessions. If a learning comprehension score falls below 3 on the 1 to 5 scale for 2 readings, change the method, slow the pace, add short summaries, or switch to active recall. Thresholds prevent drifting and stop small declines from becoming large setbacks. Practice emotional regulation during reviews. Data can provoke frustration, pride, or discouragement. Observe feelings without surrendering to them. When the log shows missed targets, note the emotion and proceed with a corrective plan rather than punishment. When the log shows improvement, record gratitude and identify replicable factors. The goal is steady action, not emotional swings. Maintaining evenness preserves energy and clears the path for disciplined adaptation. Use visual tools when helpful. Simple charts of daily numbers over time make trends unmistakable. A line showing steady increase or a bar indicating weekly totals communicates more quickly than memory. Visuals also make it easy to share progress with an accountability partner or coach. Keep visuals minimal and readable. 1 chart for each metric and a short caption about the most important insight. Clarity in presentation helps maintain focus on what matters. Commit to removing 1 source of noise each month. Noise is any input that obscures real signals. Excessive multitasking, constantly changing goals, or analytics that do not tie to action. Each month, pick 1 distraction to eliminate. Disable email notifications during focus hours. Unsubscribe from a non-essential information stream, or close unused browser tabs. Reducing noise sharpens the signal from the metrics that matter. Build public accountability into the system selectively. Sharing weekly highlights with a trusted peer, mentor, or small group increases commitment. The social element adds a healthy pressure to maintain standards and generates constructive feedback. Keep shared reports brief and factual. The 3 metrics, a 1-sentence synthesis, and the experiment plan for the next week. Public accountability should not be dramatic. It should be a sober record that supports daily adjustment. Plan for recovery and reset days. Not every day will produce progress, and forcing effort during exhaustion leads to mistakes. Schedule 1 lighter day weekly for rest or creative low-pressure work. Use those days as data to log energy recovery, mood, and clarity after rest. Sometimes the best adjustment is strategic rest, not additional activity. This recognition prevents burnout and keeps the system sustainable. Document lessons in a single place for future reference. Keep a growing list of tested experiments and their outcomes. When a new challenge appears, review past experiments for relevant solutions before inventing new ones. This archive becomes a personal playbook of what works, reducing wasted time and repeating effective fixes. When metrics show major deviations, revert to first principles. Ask 3 core questions. What was the intended input? What actually happened? And which single change will address the gap? Simplifying the problem reduces paralysis. Choose 1 direct action, implement it that day, and measure the effect within the next review period. Focused interventions beat diffuse attempts at correction. Cultivate patience about results while demanding discipline about process. Results often lag behind disciplined inputs. The daily practice of measurement and adjustment builds the conditions necessary for favorable outcomes, even when progress is not immediately visible. Rely on the process even when outcomes are slow. The cumulative effect of disciplined adjustment becomes substantial over time. Daily tracking and adjustment change behavior because they convert intention into a controlled system. The system clarifies what to do, when to do it, and how to respond when results differ from expectations. This approach replaces vague hope with practical steps and steady learning. The work becomes manageable, predictable, and consistently directed toward improvement. Discipline in recording, humility in testing, and persistence in adjusting form a reliable method for continuous advancement. Each small correction compounds into long-term mastery when this system is used with consistency and honesty. Number 3, commit daily to deliberate practice. Committing daily to deliberate practice is the single most effective way to accelerate growth and mastery. Progress is not accidental. It requires focused, structured effort applied consistently over time. Casual effort, random attempts, or unplanned work produces results sporadically at best. Deliberate practice is intentional, measurable, and designed to push boundaries. It is not about mindless repetition or going through the motions. It is about targeting weaknesses, refining technique, and continuously raising the standard of performance. Every day dedicated to this kind of practice compounds into skill, confidence, and tangible progress that others often mistake for natural talent. The first step is to define the specific skill or area you want to improve. General effort without focus diffuses energy and slows growth. Narrowing attention to precise elements of performance ensures that time is spent on what will truly produce improvement. For example, a writer does not simply write every day without evaluation. They identify areas such as clarity, sentence structure, and persuasive language to develop deliberate. A musician targets particular techniques or passages that are difficult rather than playing familiar pieces repeatedly. This precise targeting is the core of deliberate practice. Structure is essential. Random practice rarely produces results because it lacks a framework for progression. Break down the skill into smaller components that can be practiced systematically. Identify the most challenging or highest leverage parts and prioritize them. A swimmer, for instance, may isolate turns or stroke efficiency instead of swimming casually. A speaker may focus solely on tone, pacing, or audience engagement, rather than delivering an entire speech from memory. Working in short, highly concentrated sessions is more effective than long, distracted efforts. Quality beats quantity consistently in deliberate practice. Measurement is a non-negotiable part of this process. Without feedback, effort is blind. Track performance in a way that provides concrete information about improvement in gaps. Use metrics appropriate to the skill, timing, accuracy, clarity, or comprehension. Review recordings, note mistakes, and identify patterns that need correction. Measurement transforms practice from passive repetition into active learning. It allows you to adjust immediately and ensures that each session moves you closer to mastery, rather than simply reinforcing bad habits. Feedback is the fuel of deliberate practice. Honest, precise feedback highlights what is working and what requires adjustment. Seek it from sources that understand the skill, whether mentors, peers, or self-analysis using objective criteria. Internal awareness is valuable but often incomplete. External feedback illuminates blind spots that might otherwise slow progress for months or years. Accepting critique without defensiveness and integrating it into daily practice is a hallmark of disciplined growth. Challenge is an unavoidable element. Practice that is too easy produces comfort but no advancement. Practice that is too difficult leads to frustration and burnout. The optimal zone lies slightly beyond current ability, a place where effort feels taxing but manageable. This is where skill expands and adaptability grows. Gradually increase difficulty as mastery develops, maintaining a continuous stretch that pushes limits without overwhelming them. Deliberate practice thrives in this tension between competence and challenge. Daily commitment is non-negotiable because mastery is cumulative. Sporadic bursts of practice create temporary gains that vanish quickly. Consistent repetition solidifies neural pathways, strengthens muscle memory, and reinforces mental patterns. Scheduling a daily session at the same time each day reduces friction and builds momentum. The habit becomes automatic, resistance diminishes, and practice transforms from core to integral part of life. Consistency turns incremental gains into exponential improvement over months and years. Focus is critical within each session. Avoid multitasking, distractions, or passive engagement. Every moment should be fully absorbed in refining skill. Mental presence magnifies learning. Observing your performance, noticing subtle variations, and adjusting immediately amplifies growth. 1 hour of concentrated, deliberate practice produces more than 3 hours of unfocused work. Intensity, attention, and intention determine effectiveness far more than sheer duration. Reflection consolidates learning from daily effort. After each session, briefly review what was attempted, what succeeded, and where challenges remained. Consider why mistakes occurred and what methods corrected them. Note strategies for future sessions and mentally rehearse adjustments. Reflection transforms raw activity into structured learning and ensures each practice session contributes meaningfully to cumulative progress. Deliberate practice also requires prioritization of energy and recovery. Skill development is taxing on mind and body, and performance deteriorates without rest, nutrition, and mental clarity. Design practice schedules that align with peak energy periods. Allow brief breaks during sessions to maintain focus and prevent fatigue. Recovery is not optional. It is part of the system that sustains high-quality, daily effort over the long term. Tracking micro-improvements ensures momentum remains visible. Even when progress seems imperceptible, small gains accumulate into significant advancement. Record achievements, however small, and celebrate incremental win. Recognition reinforces the habit and provides motivation to maintain intensity. Over time, the accumulation of micro-improvements becomes dramatic and undeniable. A disciplined environment enhances effectiveness. Remove or minimize distractions, interruptions, and competing priorities during practice. Create a dedicated space for effort, equipped with tools, resources, and conditions that support high-quality performance. Environment directly affects the capacity for focus and allows the mind to engage deeply without unnecessary friction. The fewer barriers to attention, the more productive each session becomes. Adjustments are part of daily practice. No system is perfect at first. As you practice deliberately, evaluate methods, techniques, and approaches. Replace strategies that stall progress with new tactics. Refine routines, and test variations. Continuous adaptation keeps growth steady and prevents plateauing. Flexibility within a disciplined structure is essential. Rigidity without evaluation slows mastery. Mental resilience supports the grind. Deliberate practice often exposes weaknesses and failures. It is uncomfortable to face flaws repeatedly, yet confronting them is precisely what drives growth. Cultivating patience, persistence, and composure allows practice to remain productive despite discomfort. Emotional regulation prevents discouragement from disrupting progress and keeps focus on actionable improvements rather than imagined limitations. Integration of learning into real-world application consolidates skill. Practicing in isolation is useful for technique, but skill is solidified when applied in relevant contexts. Writers share work publicly, athletes compete in games, and speakers present to live audiences. Daily practice should include elements of real-world application to test effectiveness and strengthen confidence. Theory becomes practical competence through implementation. Accountability amplifies consistency. Sharing goals, progress, and challenges with a mentor, peer, or small group reinforces discipline. Accountability does not require pressure, but functions as a structured reflection point. External confirmation and support enhance adherence to daily practice and introduce perspectives that uncover overlooked areas for improvement. Deliberate practice is not about immediate perfection, but steady progression. Focus on controlled, measurable, repeatable effort that constantly nudges capability beyond current levels. Skill growth is a long-term accumulation of high-quality effort executed with clarity, focus, and adjustment. Each session contributes a small but essential layer to mastery. The ultimate effect of committing daily to deliberate practice is compounding growth. Each day adds a small increment of skill, confidence, and understanding. Over months and years, these increments accumulate into a high degree of proficiency and resilience. The discipline developed in practice spills into other areas, enhancing decision-making, problem-solving, and the ability to confront new challenges. Daily deliberate practice molds character as much as ability. Committing to deliberate practice transforms ambition into measurable reality. Intentionality, structure, focus, feedback, challenge, reflection, recovery, environment, accountability, and adaptability together create a system capable of producing extraordinary growth. The consistent application of these principles creates momentum, skill, and confidence. Each session builds on the previous, forming a chain that steadily moves you toward mastery. The discipline of daily effort is the guarantee that growth is not random but inevitable. This approach cultivates self-reliance, sharpens perception of weaknesses and strengths, and instills a profound sense of purpose. Mastery is not bestowed, it is constructed through repeated mindful effort applied consistently over time. Deliberate practice turns the grind into progress, frustration into insight, and daily effort into cumulative excellence. Number 4. Focus energy on high-value tasks. Focusing energy on high-value tasks is the most effective way to accelerate progress and achieve meaningful results. Time and energy are finite resources, and how they are directed determines the trajectory of growth. Many people spend hours each day busy with activity but fail to move the needle because they scatter their energy across low-impact tasks. High-value tasks are those that produce the greatest results relative to effort and align closely with long-term goals. Concentrating energy on these priorities amplifies productivity, sharpens skills, and builds momentum toward the life you want to create. The first step in mastering focus is identifying what truly matters. Not every task carries equal weight. Some activities create disproportionate outcomes, while others consume energy without contributing substantially to progress. Begin by listing responsibilities and projects, then evaluate each based on impact and alignment with your objectives. Ask yourself, which tasks, if completed consistently, would produce the most significant progress toward growth, which contribute directly to skill development, income generation, or personal improvement. Being selective is critical because undisciplined attention diffuses effort and delays meaningful achievement. Once high-value tasks are defined, eliminate or delegate low-value distractions. Every minute spent on unimportant activity is a minute taken from growth. Tasks that do not produce measurable impact, entertain without enrichment, or occupy time with negligible results should be minimized. Delegation or automation can remove these from your daily agenda. Email sorting, repetitive administrative work, or low-priority obligations are prime candidates. Removing these distractions frees cognitive capacity and emotional energy, allowing sharper focus on the activities that truly move the needle. Clarity about desired outcomes enhances focus. Define the results you seek from each high-value task. Vague intentions lead to scattered effort, while clear outcomes guide precise action. For example, rather than deciding to work on marketing, specify the target, draft 5 client proposals, create 3 social media posts with conversion intent, or analyze campaign metrics to optimize performance. The specificity of the goal channels energy efficiently, ensuring that effort translates directly into measurable progress. Prioritization is the next essential step. Not all high-value tasks are equally urgent or impactful at a given moment. Rank tasks based on the combination of importance and timing. Use frameworks like the 80-20 principle, identifying the 20% of actions that deliver 80% of results. Focus on completing these first, before moving to lower priority items. Consistently tackling top impact tasks first builds momentum, reduces stress, and produces visible outcomes that reinforce disciplined focus. Structuring the day around high-value tasks optimizes energy allocation. Human attention follows natural rhythms, and aligning challenging work with peak cognitive periods enhances efficiency. Identify when concentration is highest, often morning or after physical activity, and reserve these times for tasks demanding mental acuity, creativity, or strategic thinking. Routine, timing, and preparation create an environment where energy is applied where it matters most. Non-essential activities should be scheduled during lower energy periods to preserve peak capacity for high-impact work. The ability to resist distractions is critical. External interruptions such as notifications, social obligations, or unplanned meetings fragment attention. Internal distractions, including wandering thoughts or multitasking tendencies, further reduce productivity. Protect focus with clear boundaries. silence notifications, and isolate yourself from interruptions during high-value task execution. Techniques like the Pomodoro method or time blocking enforce structured attention periods, allowing deep work to flourish without disruption. Maintaining intensity requires managing energy alongside focus. High-value work is not simply about time spent, but quality of engagement. Short bursts of concentrated effort, interspersed with brief recovery, produce greater results than long, unbroken periods of fatigue-driven activity. Physical movement, hydration, and minimal breaks for cognitive reset keep energy levels sufficient to sustain productive engagement. High-value tasks demand alertness, and managing energy ensures consistent performance without deterioration over time. Deliberate reflection reinforces focus. At the end of each session, evaluate which tasks produced measurable progress and which consumed effort without yielding results. Identify patterns in attention lapses or misaligned priorities and adjust future plans accordingly. Reflection converts experience into actionable insight, allowing continuous refinement of focus strategies. Over time, this cycle strengthens the ability to recognize and sustain high-value activity while minimizing wasted energy. Integration of purpose into daily work enhances motivation and concentration. Understanding why a task matters strengthens engagement, making distractions less tempting. Tie each high-value task to a long-term goal, personal growth, or significant objective. The clearer the connection between effort and meaningful outcome, the more naturally attention gravitates toward that task. Motivation becomes anchored in relevance rather than fleeting emotion, increasing consistency and perseverance. Batching similar tasks increases efficiency and reduces cognitive switching costs. Group activities that require similar thinking, tools, or resources together. For example, responding to client inquiries in one block or completing creative work in uninterrupted sessions allows focus to deepen without fragmentation. Repeatedly shifting between unrelated tasks dilutes energy and attention, whereas batching creates an environment conducive to sustained high-value effort. Implementing a system of accountability reinforces commitment. Share progress with a mentor, peer, or accountability partner who understands your goals. Structured reporting or check-ins encourages consistent prioritization of high-value tasks, as external oversight motivates adherence to chosen objectives. Accountability does not replace discipline, but strengthens it by creating external validation and perspective on task relevance. Regularly reviewing and adjusting priorities is essential to sustaining focus. High-value tasks may shift as circumstances change, opportunities emerge, or objectives evolve. Weekly or monthly audits allow for the reallocation of energy toward the activities that currently offer the greatest returns. This flexibility ensures that attention is always aligned with the most impactful actions, preventing wasted effort on tasks that no longer drive meaningful outcomes. The mental approach to high-value work shapes effectiveness. View each task as a direct contribution to tangible progress, rather than as a burdensome obligation. Develop resilience to monotony, frustration, and complexity, understanding that sustained focus often involves repetitive or challenging activity. A disciplined mindset treats high-value tasks as essential steps toward growth, not optional or negotiable components of daily life. This attitude preserves energy for meaningful work and minimizes susceptibility to distractions. Tracking results provides continuous feedback on focus effectiveness. Document what was accomplished, the time invested, and the degree of impact. This data allows evaluation of whether energy is being optimally directed, whether tasks are truly high value, and whether further adjustment is required. Evidence-based insight transforms perception into action and enables the continual refinement of task selection and prioritization. Minimalism in task selection enhances concentration. Limiting the number of high-value tasks per day prevents diffusion of energy and ensures complete engagement with what truly matters. Attempting too many tasks reduces the quality of attention on each and increases cognitive load. Focus thrives when energy is concentrated, and mastery is built when execution is deep, thorough, and consistent. Strategic avoidance of non-essential tasks strengthens discipline. Saying no is as important as saying yes. Each low-value obligation avoided preserves attention for impactful activity. Boundaries are necessary to protect focus, prevent overcommitment, and ensure that energy is consistently directed toward high-leverage tasks. The practice of conscious refusal is an essential skill for sustained productivity and growth. Visualization enhances execution of high-value work. Mentally rehearsing steps, potential obstacles, and desired outcomes primes the brain for action and reduces wasted energy. Visualization creates familiarity with the process, increasing efficiency and focus when the task is undertaken. Preparation in this way ensures attention is applied with clarity and precision, minimizing hesitation and indecision. Sustained commitment to high-value tasks creates compounding advantages. Each day of focused work builds skill, reputation, and capacity. Momentum grows as visible results reinforce the behavior, leading to further engagement with high-impact activities. The compound effect is powerful. Months of concentrated effort produce results that are disproportionate to the daily investment. Energy directed wisely accelerates progress exponentially over time. Focusing energy on high-value tasks ultimately transforms time into measurable achievement, effort into skill, and attention into tangible growth. It reduces wasted effort, maximizes impact, and cultivates a disciplined approach to daily action. Concentrated effort applied consistently shapes outcomes, strengthens character, and builds competence. The principle is simple but rarely executed. Where energy flows, growth follows. Those who master this practice achieve disproportionate results because they harness their most limited resources, time, energy, and attention on the work that matters most. Number 5. Embrace discomfort to build resilience. Embracing discomfort is the cornerstone of resilience and personal growth. Life naturally gravitates toward ease, but progress rarely occurs in zones of comfort. Growth, strength, and mastery emerge from consistent exposure to challenges that test limits, expand endurance, and cultivate adaptability. Discomfort is not an obstacle to avoid. It is a signal that you are stretching capacity, challenging assumptions, and forging a stronger, more capable self. Facing difficulty deliberately transforms experiences that once produced fear, avoidance, or frustration into opportunities for skill, confidence, and emotional fortitude. Understanding discomfort begins with recognizing its role as feedback. Every moment of unease carries information about limits and potential areas for improvement. Physical strain during exercise highlights muscles that need strengthening. Intellectual difficulty, while learning exposes gaps in knowledge, and social tension reveals areas for emotional refinement. Rather than resisting these signals, treating them as indicators of growth opportunity reorients perception. Discomfort is a compass pointing toward the experiences that accelerate development when approached with discipline and awareness. Developing resilience through discomfort requires intentional exposure. Avoidance dulls capacity and reinforces fragility. Deliberately placing oneself in challenging situations conditions the mind and body to operate effectively under pressure. This exposure can take many forms: taking on responsibilities outside of current expertise, speaking in front of unfamiliar audiences, tackling complex problems without certainty, or engaging in physical training beyond previous endurance levels. Regular, structured engagement with difficulty desensitizes fear, strengthens determination, and builds confidence in handling uncertainty. Preparation is essential before confronting discomfort. While embracing challenge, it is important to understand the context and potential consequences. Adequate preparation does not eliminate difficulty, but enables safer and more productive engagement. Mental rehearsal, incremental exposure, and knowledge acquisition reduce unnecessary risk while preserving the intensity needed for growth. Approach challenges as experiments rather than threats, with clear objectives and an awareness of variables that can be controlled. Preparedness allows discomfort to be constructive rather than destructive. Mindset shapes the ability to endure and benefit from difficulty. Viewing discomfort as an ally rather than an adversary transforms experience. Reframing challenges as opportunities to test limits and learn new capabilities reduces resistance and emotional drain. Mental framing enables persistence through temporary discomfort and encourages the extraction of value from situations that might otherwise seem unpleasant or overwhelming. Resilience grows from the consistent application of this perspective in real-life challenges. Incremental progression amplifies results. Extreme discomfort without graduated exposure often leads to failure or burnout. Start with manageable challenges slightly beyond current capacity, then gradually increase difficulty as tolerance and skill improve. A person learning a new skill may begin with simpler tasks that are slightly uncomfortable before advancing to complex scenarios. An athlete gradually increases load or intensity rather than pushing into unsustainable extremes. Incremental escalation strengthens competence while maintaining motivation and reducing risk of injury, failure, or discouragement. Physical and mental endurance are cultivated simultaneously. Discomfort is often a holistic experience, affecting mind, body, and emotion concurrently. Strategies to manage one aspect often reinforce the others. Breath control, posture, and physical relaxation techniques support emotional regulation during stress. Focused mental exercises enhance persistence during physically demanding or psychologically challenging situations. The interaction between mind and body during moments of discomfort develops comprehensive resilience, enabling individuals to function effectively under pressure across multiple dimensions of life. Reflective practice consolidates lessons from discomfort. After encountering challenging situations, a deliberate review identifies what was learned, what strategies were effective, and where improvement is still needed. Reflection transforms raw experiences into actionable insights, converting past difficulty into tools for future engagement. Without reflection, discomfort is experienced but not fully utilized, and the opportunity to strengthen resilience is diminished. Writing brief notes, journaling, or discussing experiences with a trusted advisor enhances the learning from each encounter. Emotional regulation is essential when facing adversity. Discomfort naturally triggers stress, frustration, or fear. Developing techniques to maintain composure under these conditions prevents reactionary behaviors that compromise growth. Techniques such as mindful breathing, reframing negative thoughts, and focusing on controllable factors stabilize performance and increase the ability to extract benefit from challenging circumstances. Emotional resilience strengthens with repeated practice, making future encounters less taxing and more productive. Setting purposeful goals aligned with discomfort accelerates resilience. Intentional exposure to challenging circumstances should be designed to achieve specific growth outcomes rather than pursuing difficulty for its own sake. Goals clarify focus, provide measurable benchmarks, and sustain motivation. For example, a goal to improve public speaking skills guides exposure to situations that elicit nervousness while offering structured feedback and incremental challenges. Purposeful goals prevent aimless struggle and ensure that discomfort produces tangible benefits. Persistence in the face of repeated discomfort is transformative. The human mind naturally seeks relief from strain, yet consistent engagement in uncomfortable situations builds adaptive capacity. Resilience grows not from a single heroic effort, but from daily repeated encounters with difficulty that gradually increase in intensity. The cumulative effect is profound. What once seemed impossible becomes manageable, and confidence expands as experience demonstrates capability in adversity. Discomfort also serves as a filter for priorities. Not all challenges are equally valuable. Learning to distinguish between high-impact discomfort and unnecessary stress ensures that energy is spent wisely. High-impact challenges produce skill, insight, or strategic advantage, while avoidable or irrelevant struggles drain resources without significant benefit. Developing discernment in choosing which discomfort to engage with enhances efficiency and maximizes growth. Social and relational discomfort can be especially powerful for resilience. Difficult conversations, feedback reception, and collaborative conflict teach emotional control, empathy, and communication skills. These experiences often trigger instinctive avoidance or defensiveness, yet embracing them deliberately strengthens interpersonal capacity and broadens influence. Repeated exposure to such situations cultivates poise, confidence, and adaptability in complex social environments. Tracking responses to discomfort reinforces progress. Documenting situations that were difficult, actions taken, emotional reactions, and outcomes builds awareness and allows patterns to be identified. Tracking provides evidence of growth and highlights areas still needing attention. Observing improvement over time strengthens motivation and reinforces the practice of deliberate exposure to challenging circumstances. Recovery strategies are critical. Growth from discomfort is optimized when followed by adequate rest, reflection, and restoration. Strategic breaks prevent physical and mental overload, while allowing consolidation of lessons learned. Recovery is not avoidance. It is an essential component of resilience building. Proper recovery ensures that discomfort remains productive and prevents diminishing returns or burnout. Integration of discomfort into routine normalizes challenge. When difficulty becomes a predictable and expected part of life, reactions shift from avoidance to engagement. Routine exposure reduces fear, builds automatic coping strategies, and strengthens endurance. A structured schedule that incorporates manageable challenges ensures consistent growth and transforms discomfort from a source of anxiety into a tool for development. Finally, embracing discomfort strengthens character. Each deliberate confrontation with challenge builds patience, perseverance, and self-trust. Over time, individuals internalize the understanding that they can handle adversity, leading to increased confidence, initiative, and willingness to pursue ambitious goals. Resilience becomes an intrinsic quality rather than a situational reaction, and the capacity to face uncertainty expands naturally. Committing to discomfort is not a one-time act, but a daily practice. The consistent choice to confront what is difficult, rather than avoid it, creates a foundation for sustained personal growth. Each encounter with challenge strengthens the mind, sharpens skills, and expands capacity to handle future adversity. Over time, resilience compounds, producing a sense of self-mastery, confidence, and readiness that cannot be achieved through comfort alone. Discomfort is the proving ground for capability. Approached deliberately, it transforms fear into courage, strain into strength, challenges into milestones of personal evolution. By integrating discomfort into daily life, testing limits thoughtfully, and reflecting on outcomes, resilience becomes an enduring trait rather than a temporary response. Growth, skill, and confidence are cultivated through this repeated intentional engagement with difficulty, ensuring that life's pressures strengthen rather than weaken the individual. Number 6. Optimize routines for maximum efficiency. Optimizing routines for maximum efficiency is the key to transforming effort into results. Time, energy, and attention are finite, and the way they are structured determines how much can be accomplished each day. Inefficient routines waste resources, even when activity feels productive. Small adjustments to how tasks are organized, sequenced, and executed can produce disproportionate results. Efficient routines are not about doing more, but about doing what matters in the most streamlined, consistent, and sustainable way. Each element of the day should be evaluated to ensure it contributes to growth rather than simply fills time. The first step in optimizing routines is analyzing how time is currently spent. Track daily activities in detail for a week, noting both intentional work and low-value or automatic actions. This reveals patterns, inefficiencies, and areas where energy is dissipated without meaningful output. Many people underestimate the cumulative impact of small distractions, repeated context switches, or idle transitions. By quantifying how time is used, it becomes possible to see which parts of the day are productive, which are neutral, and which are draining without benefit. Next, prioritize tasks according to impact. Efficiency is not about speed, but about allocating attention to high-value work. Identify actions that produce the most significant outcomes and ensure they occupy the prime periods of energy and focus. Less impactful activities should be delegated, delayed, or eliminated. Structuring the day to handle high-priority work during peak mental and physical energy maximizes effectiveness. Low-value tasks, though necessary, should not dominate time blocks reserved for critical growth activities. Sequence tasks strategically. Group related activities together to reduce cognitive switching costs. Performing similar types of work consecutively allows focus to deepen and attention to remain sharp. For example, scheduling all communication tasks in one block prevents repeated interruptions and preserves mental energy for analytical or creative tasks at other times. Sequencing should also consider energy levels, placing more demanding or complex work when alertness is highest, and less intensive tasks when energy dips. Time blocking is a practical tool to structure routines. Assign fixed periods for specific tasks, and adhere to these windows rigorously. This creates discipline, reduces indecision, and prevents drift into low-value activities. Blocks should include focused work, recovery, planning, and reflection. Each segment has a clearly defined purpose, which eliminates wasted time and ensures that effort is applied deliberately. Over time, adherence to structured blocks cultivates habit, making efficient behavior automatic rather than forced. Automation and simplification enhance efficiency significantly. Repetitive or procedural tasks can often be automated through software, checklists, or systems, reducing mental load and freeing cognitive capacity for higher-level work. Streamlining processes by eliminating unnecessary steps ensures that every action contributes directly to outcomes. Even small improvements, repeated daily, compound into significant time savings and reduced mental fatigue, allowing more energy to be allocated to meaningful endeavors. Integration of preparation into routines is essential. Each task or session should begin with a brief period of planning to clarify objectives, resources needed, and potential obstacles. This primes the mind and prevents wasted effort caused by uncertainty or incomplete information. Knowing exactly what success looks like before beginning a task shortens execution time and improves quality. Preparation acts as a multiplier, transforming routine actions into precise, deliberate efforts. Recovery and rest should be built into optimized routines. Efficiency is not relentless activity, but sustainable energy application. Scheduling regular breaks, short recovery periods, and restorative activities maintains focus and prevents burnout. The brain and body function best when cycles of work and rest are balanced. Recovery periods are not idle time. They are strategic investments in maintaining peak performance throughout the day. Reflection and iterative improvement strengthen routines over time. At the end of each day or week, evaluate which segments produced results, which consumed energy without impact, and where minor adjustments could yield better outcomes. This feedback loop enables continuous refinement, ensuring routines evolve with changing circumstances and increasing demands. Even minor tweaks can have a magnified effect when applied consistently over months or years. Consistency is critical in maximizing efficiency. Routines require repetition to become ingrained. When actions are performed habitually, less mental energy is spent deciding what to do, allowing focus to shift entirely to execution and quality. Over time, automatic efficiency emerges as the mind and body adapt to the predictable structure of the day, reducing friction and increasing productivity without conscious effort. Energy management is an essential component of efficient routines. Awareness of circadian rhythms, peak cognitive hours, and personal energy cycles allows for intelligent allocation of tasks. Complex, demanding work should align with periods of highest alertness, while administrative or routine tasks should be handled during low-energy windows. Aligning work with natural rhythms maximizes output and minimizes effort. Elimination of friction enhances flow. Identify elements that disrupt smooth execution, disorganized tools, unclear priorities, or inefficient workflows, and remove them, simplifying access to resources, creating templates, and reducing decision fatigue accelerates progress. Small barriers often accumulate into significant resistance. Reducing friction ensures energy is directed toward action rather than overcoming avoidable obstacles. Accountability structures further optimize routines. Sharing goals and daily plans with a trusted advisor, peer, or mentor increases commitment and reinforces discipline. The social dimension encourages adherence to schedules and elevates the perceived value of tasks. Accountability does not replace self-discipline but complements it by adding external perspective and motivation to maintain routine rigor. Integration of multisensory cues improves routine adherence. Physical markers, visual reminders, or auditory signals reinforce timing and task transitions. These cues reduce reliance on memory, prevent missed actions, and anchor attention. Simple triggers, like placing exercise equipment in view or maintaining a visible checklist, support consistent action and ensure critical tasks are executed without omission. Flexibility within structure is crucial. Optimized routines are not rigid prescriptions, but adaptive frameworks. Unexpected events, fluctuating energy levels, and new priorities require occasional adjustment. The ability to modify timing, sequence, or method without losing alignment to goals ensures resilience and sustains efficiency over long periods. Flexibility allows continuity rather than disruption in performance. Reviewing outcomes regularly ensures alignment between effort and result. Each week, evaluate whether routines are producing the intended outputs and adjust as necessary. Identify bottlenecks, wasted steps, or repeated inefficiencies. This practice converts routines from static patterns into living systems capable of evolving with changing demands, learning from experience, and continuously improving. Integrating high-value tasks into routines increases efficiency exponentially. Every routine should be evaluated for the proportion of time spent on activities with the greatest impact. If low-value tasks dominate, efficiency declines despite apparent busyness. Structuring the day so that essential actions occupy peak attention periods ensures that effort consistently generates results rather than mere activity. The cumulative effect of optimized routines is compounding productivity. Days, weeks, and months of well-structured behavior accumulate into significant growth, skill acquisition, and accomplishment. Small gains repeated consistently generate results far beyond what isolated bursts of effort can achieve. Efficiency turns consistency into tangible, measurable outcomes, ensuring that progress accelerates naturally over time. Optimizing routines also builds discipline and mental clarity. Predictable, well-structured patterns reduce decision fatigue, minimize wasted cognitive energy, and free the mind to focus on problem-solving, creativity, and strategic thinking. A disciplined routine provides a framework within which high-level tasks are executed smoothly and consistently, producing both output and mastery of self-management. Ultimately, routines are the engine of daily achievement. Optimized routines direct time, energy, and attention toward meaningful action, minimize waste, and maximize the return on effort. The discipline to structure, refine, and sustain these patterns creates a foundation for long-term success. By continuously evaluating and improving how tasks are organized and executed, efficiency becomes ingrained, and momentum builds, ensuring that each day contributes decisively to growth, capability, and accomplishment. Number 7, learn relentlessly from every failure. Learning relentlessly from every failure is the engine of sustained growth and lasting achievement. Failure is not an endpoint or a verdict on ability. It is a signal, a source of feedback, and a guide toward improvement. Every unsuccessful attempt contains information that, when examined honestly, can accelerate skill, insight, and wisdom. The difference between those who stagnate and those who thrive is the ability to extract lessons from setbacks rather than ignoring, rationalizing, or fearing them. Approaching failure systematically transforms apparent losses into powerful tools for personal development. The first step in leveraging failure is reframing it. Instead of perceiving mistakes as evidence of inadequacy, view them as experiments that provide data. Each failure reveals gaps in knowledge, process inefficiencies, and areas requiring attention. Reframing shifts emotional reaction from shame or frustration to curiosity and engagement. This mental pivot allows a person to approach setbacks objectively, extracting actionable insights instead of being immobilized by discouragement. Analyzing failure requires honesty. It is essential to identify the exact point where an attempt diverged from success. Break the process into steps and evaluate what went as expected and what deviated. Avoid vague conclusions like "I wasn't ready" or "it didn't work." Instead, pinpoint specific factors: timing, preparation, decision-making, skill execution, or external conditions. This granular understanding forms the basis for targeted improvement, Generalizations obscure lessons, while precise analysis creates a blueprint for correction. Documentation enhances learning from failure. Writing down what occurred, what was attempted, and what the results were transforms ephemeral experience into a tangible record. This practice not only preserves insights for future reference, but also enables comparison over time, revealing patterns and persistent obstacles. A journal or digital log allows a sequence of failures to become a map of growth, showing incremental progress and the evolution of strategy. Experimentation following failure is essential. Each setback provides hypotheses about what to change, refine, or test next. Rather than abandoning an approach entirely, adjust one variable at a time and observe outcomes. This controlled experimentation turns failure into a laboratory for improvement. Testing ideas methodically ensures that lessons are not theoretical but translated into actionable steps that directly enhance capability. Mindset is critical in converting failure into progress. Resilient individuals approach setbacks with a focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Cultivating a mindset of relentless learning involves curiosity, patience, and a refusal to equate temporary defeat with personal inadequacy. Maintaining emotional stability allows objective evaluation of errors and ensures energy is invested in growth rather than self-pity or avoidance. Timeliness of reflection magnifies the benefit of failure. Immediate assessment captures details that fade with time and preserves the emotional context that shaped decisions. Reflecting soon after a setback ensures that lessons are accurate, relevant, and actionable. Capturing the raw experience, then distilling it into insights, creates a feedback loop that is responsive and potent, allowing rapid course correction and iterative improvement. Perspective strengthens learning from repeated setbacks. Observing patterns across multiple failures identifies systemic issues rather than isolated errors. Recognizing recurring obstacles or recurring reactions provides a roadmap for addressing underlying weaknesses. Long-term perspective prevents discouragement and reframes individual failures as part of a trajectory toward competence, mastery, and resilience. Failure also serves as a teacher for strategic decision-making. By analyzing which actions led to negative outcomes and which contributed to partial success, one develops the ability to make more informed choices under uncertainty. This process trains judgment, risk assessment, and the capacity to anticipate consequences. Each failure, therefore, contributes not only to skill improvement, but also to the refinement of intuition and decision-making quality. Learning from failure requires humility. Acknowledging mistakes without defensiveness opens the mind to alternative methods, external guidance, and innovative approaches. Humility prevents repetition of errors caused by pride or ego and allows for the adoption of better practices. Accepting that knowledge is incomplete and that failure is inevitable fosters a growth-oriented approach to challenges. Sharing failures with trusted peers or mentors enhances learning. External perspectives often reveal blind spots that are invisible from within. Constructive critique and observation provide additional data points and insights, accelerating the extraction of value from setbacks. Accountability and collaboration transform isolated mistakes into shared learning opportunities that benefit both the individual and their broader network. Emotional regulation plays a role in effective learning from failure. Intense reactions can cloud judgment, distort perception, and reduce the ability to act on lessons. Developing calm, focused reflection ensures that failure is processed constructively. Techniques such as mindfulness, controlled breathing, or brief periods of detachment provide clarity and prevent emotional turbulence from undermining insight and subsequent action. Iteration is the key to mastery through failure. Rarely does improvement come from a single adjustment. Continuous cycles of attempt, failure, analysis, and refinement generate cumulative advantage. Each iteration builds skill, knowledge, and confidence. Over time, setbacks become less intimidating and more predictable, as individuals recognize that failure is simply part of the process of progress and mastery. Learning from failure also involves separating effort from outcome. While results are important, the primary lesson often lies in evaluating processes, choices, and habits. High-quality effort is under one's control, whereas outcomes may be influenced by external factors. By focusing on controllable elements, individuals extract meaningful insight from failure without becoming discouraged by circumstances beyond their influence. Visualization and mental rehearsal can complement learning from failure. After analyzing what went wrong, mentally rehearsing corrected approaches prepares the mind for improved execution. This practice reinforces neural pathways, builds confidence, and reduces the likelihood of repeating mistakes. Mental simulation is a low-risk, high-return method of translating lessons into actionable skill before the next attempt. Persistence amplifies the value of learning from failure. The willingness to repeatedly engage, despite setbacks, ensures that insights are tested and refined. Without continued effort, lessons remain theoretical and unproven. Persistence transforms failure from a momentary setback into a series of opportunities that compound into mastery, resilience, and competence. Tracking progress post-failure demonstrates growth and reinforces motivation. Observing how insights from prior mistakes have been applied successfully validates the process and encourages ongoing commitment. Measurement of improvements, even incremental, confirms that lessons are translating into enhanced performance, solidifying the feedback loop between failure and development. Cultivating a culture of learning from failure transforms perception of risk. Rather than avoiding challenges due to fear of mistakes, individuals approach complex situations with curiosity and strategic preparation. This openness to experience expands capability, accelerates skill acquisition, and nurtures adaptability. Failure becomes an expected, valuable component of a proactive, ambitious approach to growth. Ultimately, relentless learning from failure builds resilience, intelligence, and confidence simultaneously. Each setback becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Individuals who embrace failure systematically gain insight, develop discipline, and acquire the capacity to tackle increasingly complex challenges. By combining analysis, reflection, experimentation, and iteration, failure is converted into a powerful instrument for sustained progress, ensuring that no setback is wasted and every experience contributes meaningfully to long-term success. Number 8. Surround yourself with growth-driven people. Surrounding yourself with growth-driven people is one of the most powerful strategies for accelerating personal development and achieving long-term success. The individuals you spend time with shape your thinking, habits, standards, and even your vision of what is possible. Growth-driven people, those who are disciplined, motivated, and committed to continuous improvement, create an environment that encourages ambition, accountability, and resilience. Their energy, perspective, and example naturally elevate your performance, inspiring action and reinforcing the habits necessary for progress. The first step is recognizing the influence of your social environment. Humans are inherently social beings, and behaviors, attitudes, and beliefs are often unconsciously adopted from those we interact with regularly. If you spend time predominantly with individuals who are complacent, negative, or resistant to change, it becomes difficult to maintain high standards, pursue ambitious goals, or develop consistent discipline. Conversely, exposure to motivated, focused, and ambitious people creates a positive feedback loop, reinforcing productive behaviors and expanding perception of what can be achieved. Identifying growth-driven individuals requires observation of behaviors rather than surface-level traits. Look for people who are consistent in their habits, committed to learning, and take deliberate action toward their goals. These individuals embrace challenges, maintain resilience in the face of setbacks, and actively seek improvement. Their influence is constructive, not critical. They provide motivation, guidance, and insight without diminishing your autonomy or creating dependence. Aligning with this type of person ensures that your environment supports your growth rather than undermines it. Building relationships with growth-driven people involves intentional effort. Seek opportunities to connect through professional groups, learning communities, mentorship programs, or social circles where personal development is prioritized. Engage in conversations that explore ideas, strategies, and challenges. Ask questions, share experiences, and exchange knowledge in a way that fosters mutual growth. Relationships of this nature are reciprocal. Both parties contribute, learn, and inspire, creating a dynamic environment of continual progress. Proximity amplifies influence. Spending consistent, meaningful time with motivated individuals strengthens habits and mindset. Short, sporadic interactions are less impactful than regular engagement that allows for observation, feedback, and shared experience. Whether through collaborative projects, study groups, or joint personal challenges, immersion in a growth-focused environment accelerates the internalization of productive behaviors. Over time, the discipline, optimism, and strategic thinking of those around you become integrated into your own approach to challenges and opportunities. Mentorship is a particularly effective form of surrounding yourself with growth-driven people. Mentors provide guidance, perspective, and accountability, helping to shorten the learning curve and avoid common mistakes. The presence of a mentor encourages focus, commitment, and reflection, ensuring that effort is directed toward high-value activities. Mentorship relationships often extend beyond skills and knowledge, influencing mindset, resilience, and strategic thinking, all of which are critical to long-term success. Accountability enhances the benefits of growth-driven relationships. When peers or mentors are aware of your goals and progress, they provide encouragement, constructive critique, and external pressure to maintain consistency. Accountability ensures that intentions are transformed into actions. It prevents stagnation, reduces procrastination, and cultivates a culture of follow-through. Regular reporting, shared milestones, or collaborative challenges keep motivation high and reinforce disciplined effort. Exposure to diverse perspectives within growth-oriented networks expands thinking. Growth-driven individuals often have varied experiences, skills, and problem-solving approaches. Engaging with different perspectives enhances creativity, adaptability, and decision-making. Listening actively and integrating insights from others builds strategic flexibility and enriches the quality of your actions. Diversity within growth-driven circles prevents stagnation and encourages innovative approaches to challenges. Emotional support within growth-focused networks is another critical advantage. Pursuing ambitious goals can be stressful, and setbacks are inevitable. Surrounding yourself with people who maintain a constructive attitude and provide encouragement creates a buffer against discouragement and self-doubt. Positive reinforcement from individuals who understand the value of persistence and effort strengthens resilience and sustains momentum during difficult periods. Their belief in growth amplifies your own confidence and commitment. Modeling behavior is a key mechanism through which growth-driven people influence your development. Observing their habits, routines, problem-solving strategies, and mindset provides a blueprint for effective behavior. Rather than learning solely from trial and error, you internalize successful practices by watching, analyzing, and emulating those who have achieved progress. This accelerates skill acquisition, reinforces discipline, and establishes benchmarks for excellence. Sharing challenges openly with growth-driven individuals fosters deeper insight. Discussing obstacles, failures, or uncertainties in a constructive environment encourages reflective thinking and solution-oriented approaches. These interactions transform difficulties into learning opportunities and reveal approaches that may not have been considered independently. The dialogue enhances both understanding and practical problem-solving skills, while reinforcing the value of persistence and adaptability. High standards are reinforced through association with ambitious peers. Growth-driven individuals often maintain expectations for quality, effort, and consistency that exceed your current baseline. Exposure to these standards motivates self-improvement, increases personal benchmarks, and encourages striving for higher performance. Over time, elevated standards become internalized, making excellence a natural expectation rather than a forced effort. Collaboration within growth-oriented circles multiplies impact. Joint projects, accountability partnerships, and shared goals create synergy that magnifies individual contributions. Collective energy, knowledge, and effort produce results that surpass what could be achieved alone. Collaboration also exposes areas for personal growth, as feedback is immediate, challenges are shared, and success is reinforced through mutual support and recognition. Boundaries are important when surrounding yourself with growth-driven people. Protect your focus by minimizing contact with individuals who resist improvement, complain excessively, or drain energy. Strategic curation of relationships ensures that your environment remains conducive to progress. Quality of association is far more important than quantity. Consistent interaction with a few highly motivated individuals is more beneficial than superficial engagement with many. Continuous engagement reinforces the mindset of growth. Regular interaction, shared learning, and ongoing communication cultivate habits of inquiry, reflection, and disciplined effort. Over time, being immersed in a growth-driven network shapes not only behavior but also perception, shaping your sense of possibility and readiness to embrace challenges. Growth becomes embedded in daily thought patterns and decision-making processes. Active contribution strengthens reciprocal growth. Supporting, advising, or encouraging others in a growth-oriented network enhances personal insight and reinforces your own habits. Teaching, sharing resources, and offering constructive feedback consolidates knowledge and builds confidence. Contribution transforms passive association into active participation, deepening the impact of surrounding yourself with growth-driven people. Tracking progress within these networks increases accountability and demonstrates value. Sharing achievements, documenting lessons learned, and celebrating milestones with peers creates a culture of transparency, motivation, and mutual reinforcement. Observing progress collectively inspires continued effort and reinforces the principle that growth is a cumulative process, supported by disciplined, consistent action. Finally, surrounding yourself with growth-driven individuals cultivates a mindset of possibility and resilience. The environment sets the tone for ambition, creativity, and persistence. When high standards, accountability, and constructive energy dominate your social sphere, growth becomes a default expectation rather than an occasional effort. The influence of such individuals elevates performance, sharpens judgment, and accelerates the development of skills, habits, and mindset, ensuring that personal progress is not left to chance, but actively cultivated. Number 9. Set micro goals. Achieve big results. Setting micro goals to achieve big results is a strategy that transforms overwhelming ambitions into manageable, actionable steps. Large objectives often feel distant and intimidating, which leads to procrastination, frustration, or lack of clarity. Breaking them down into smaller, precise goals creates a roadmap that is tangible, measurable, and motivating. Each micro goal represents a concrete action that, when consistently completed, accumulates into substantial progress. By focusing on incremental achievements, momentum builds, confidence strengthens, and even the most ambitious visions become attainable. The process begins with clearly defining the ultimate goal. Clarity at the macro level is essential because micro goals derive meaning from the larger objective they support. Understand exactly what success looks like in concrete terms, including measurable outcomes, timelines, and the value it will bring. Without this clarity, micro goals can become scattered, ineffective, or misaligned, wasting energy without generating real advancement. Once the big goal is defined, break it into smaller, achievable components. Each micro goal should be specific, actionable, and measurable. Instead of setting vague objectives, identify precise tasks that advance progress incrementally. For example, if the ultimate goal is to publish a book, a micro goal could be writing 500 words daily or completing a single chapter per week. These smaller targets are manageable and provide a clear path forward, reducing the psychological burden of large ambition. Micro goals serve multiple purposes simultaneously. They clarify focus, measure progress, and sustain motivation. Each completed micro goal produces a sense of achievement, reinforcing behavior and energizing continued effort. Momentum is created through consistency, transforming isolated actions into a chain of progress that drives toward the larger objective. This approach converts seemingly impossible tasks into daily realities, making advancement predictable and controllable rather than random or dependent on bursts of inspiration. Prioritization is critical when establishing micro goals. Not all small steps contribute equally to the final outcome. Identify actions that produce the most significant impact or directly advance the objective. Allocate attention and resources toward these priorities first, ensuring that every effort moves you closer to the ultimate result. Less impactful steps can be scheduled later, combined or eliminated to maintain efficiency and focus. Tracking progress amplifies the effectiveness of micro goals. Maintain a record of completed tasks, milestones achieved, and obstacles encountered. This visibility creates accountability and provides evidence of consistent advancement. Tracking allows you to identify patterns, recognize what strategies work, and make adjustments when progress stalls. The act of documenting growth reinforces commitment and transforms abstract ambition into a tangible narrative of accomplishment. Time management enhances micro-goal success. Assign specific time frames to each micro-step to prevent procrastination and ensure consistent execution. Short, well-defined periods of focused work, followed by brief rest intervals, maximize productivity and reduce mental fatigue. Time constraints create a sense of urgency that encourages disciplined action without creating excessive stress or burnout. Flexibility ensures that micro-goals remain practical and relevant. Adjust steps when circumstances change, unexpected challenges arise, or better methods are discovered. Rigidity can lead to stagnation, while adaptive refinement keeps progress continuous. Flexibility does not compromise ambition. It ensures that each micro-goal contributes efficiently to the larger vision, despite evolving conditions or new insights. Accountability strengthens micro-goal execution. Sharing objectives and progress with a trusted mentor, peer, or partner reinforces commitment. External observation encourages follow-through, provides feedback, and offers perspective that may highlight blind spots or suggest more effective approaches. Accountability transforms individual effort into a collaborative process that amplifies consistency, motivation, and reflection on completed micro-goals is crucial. Each small success and challenge encountered offers insights for refining strategy, understanding strengths and weaknesses, and enhancing future performance. Regular reflection ensures that micro-goals are not simply tasks to be checked off, but learning experiences that improve skill, judgment, and decision-making. This process turns each incremental step into a building block of both progress and personal growth. Micro-goals cultivate discipline. Daily adherence to manageable steps trains consistency, builds habits, and strengthens self-control. Discipline developed at the micro-level scales naturally to larger challenges, creating a foundation for tackling more complex tasks and ambitious projects. This habitual focus on small actions ensures that effort is predictable, deliberate, and cumulative, producing reliable momentum over time. Celebrating small wins reinforces commitment. Recognizing and appreciating achievements, even minor ones, maintains motivation and engagement. Positive reinforcement encourages continued action and reinforces the value of incremental progress. Celebrations do not need to be extravagant. Acknowledgement of effort and achievement is sufficient to sustain psychological investment in long-term goals. Micro-goals also reduce fear and anxiety associated with large ambitions. By concentrating on one small step at a time, the mind is less likely to feel overwhelmed or paralyzed. Breaking objectives into manageable portions provides clarity and control, making action feel achievable. Each completed micro-goal becomes proof that the larger goal is within reach, gradually transforming fear into confidence. Integration of micro-goals into daily routines ensures consistency. Embedding small tasks into regular schedules minimizes decision fatigue and increases adherence. Habitual execution of micro-goals transforms progress into an automatic, predictable process. Routine application eliminates reliance on willpower alone and ensures that momentum is sustained regardless of mood or external circumstances. Visualization reinforces micro-goal effectiveness. Mentally rehearsing steps and outcomes strengthens clarity, focus, and motivation. Visualization prepares the mind for action, anticipates obstacles, and reinforces the connection between effort and achievement. This mental preparation complements physical execution, making each small step more deliberate and effective. Cumulative impact of micro-goals is profound. Repeated small actions, consistently executed, compound into large, meaningful results over time. The approach ensures that progress is measurable, continuous, and aligned with long-term objectives. What begins as a series of small steps ultimately culminates in significant transformation, demonstrating the power of disciplined, incremental effort. Micro-goals also foster resilience. When progress is measured in manageable units, setbacks are easier to navigate and recover from. If one step fails, the consequences are limited, and lessons can be extracted without derailing overall momentum. This approach reinforces persistence, adaptability, and problem-solving, allowing continuous forward movement despite occasional obstacles. Strategic selection of micro-goals ensures alignment with both immediate and long-term priorities. Each small step should connect directly to meaningful outcomes, ensuring that effort is not wasted on irrelevant or low-impact action. Alignment between micro-goals and macro-objectives guarantees that incremental achievements collectively drive substantial advancement. Finally, setting micro-goals nurtures a mindset of progress and possibility. Each completed step reinforces belief in capability, sharpens focus, and strengthens commitment to long-term ambitions. By consistently transforming intention into action through well-defined, achievable units, large, intimidating goals become tangible, achievable, and inevitable. Growth becomes a structured, deliberate process, and success emerges not from chance, but from disciplined, incremental achievement. Number 10. Reflect consistently, refine your approach. Consistent reflection and refinement are essential for sustainable growth and mastery of any craft or personal development journey. Progress is not automatic simply because effort is applied without deliberate evaluation and adjustment. Patterns of inefficiency, misjudgment, or missed opportunities persist unnoticed. Reflection allows you to assess what is working, identify areas for improvement, and ensure that actions align with goals. Refinement, in turn, converts insights from reflection into practical adjustments that enhance performance, effectiveness, and personal growth over time. This cycle of observation, assessment, and correction is the engine of continuous improvement and long-term success. The first step in effective reflection is creating dedicated time and space for it. Reflection requires mental clarity, focus, and uninterrupted attention. Regularly set aside moments, whether daily or weekly, to review actions, decisions, and outcomes. Use this time to examine not only successes but also failures, near misses, and minor inefficiencies. This practice ensures that experiences are not lost to routine, but are converted into insight that informs future action. Treat reflection as a non-negotiable element of development, rather than an optional activity. Honesty is critical in reflection. The mind often seeks comfort by rationalizing mistakes or minimizing shortcomings, but meaningful insight comes only from accurate appraisal. Assess your performance objectively, acknowledging both strengths and weaknesses without self-deception. Identify decisions or behaviors that limited progress and determine the factors behind them. Equally, recognize what contributed to positive outcomes, as understanding effective strategies allows replication and reinforcement. The balance of candid evaluation and constructive acknowledgement forms the foundation for productive refinement. Documentation amplifies the impact of reflection. Recording observations, lessons learned, and action points creates a tangible reference for ongoing improvement. Writing enables clarity, organizes thoughts, and prevents valuable insights from fading. Over time, these records provide a map of growth, revealing patterns, recurring challenges, and progress trends. They serve as both accountability tools and strategic guides, ensuring that refinement is informed by a comprehensive understanding of past actions, rather than relying solely on memory or intuition. Analyzing cause and effect is a crucial aspect of reflection. Examine how specific decisions, habits, or approaches produced particular outcomes. Identify which actions generated value, which consumed resources without meaningful impact, and which could be altered for better efficiency. Understanding causality allows for precise adjustments, minimizing guesswork and maximizing the effectiveness of subsequent efforts. This analytical approach ensures that refinements are grounded in evidence rather than conjecture. Reflection also involves evaluating alignment with overarching goals. Daily or weekly actions, may be productive in isolation, but not necessarily contribute to long-term objectives. Examine whether current routines, priorities, and behaviors are consistently moving toward desired outcomes. Adjust strategies and focus areas to maintain alignment, ensuring that effort is concentrated on actions that generate meaningful impact. Misalignment can slow growth, while intentional calibration guarantees progress towards strategic objectives. Emotional intelligence is integral to reflection. Emotions often color perceptions, influence decisions, and affect interpretation of results. By observing emotional reactions objectively, you gain insight into triggers, biases, and resilience levels. Understanding how feelings interact with behavior allows for adjustments that improve both performance and well-being. Reflection that includes emotional analysis develops self-awareness, strengthens discipline, and enhances decision-making under pressure. Regular refinement translates insights into action. Reflection alone is insufficient if it does not result in tangible adjustments to behavior, strategy, or approach. Identify specific, practical changes that address identified weaknesses or inefficiencies. Adjust routines, modify methods, or implement new strategies to improve outcomes. The refinement process converts abstract understanding into measurable, actionable steps, ensuring that each cycle of reflection directly contributes to growth and achievement. Incremental improvement is more effective than radical change. Small, deliberate adjustments to behavior, process, or strategy are easier to implement, monitor, and sustain. Gradual refinement prevents disruption, reduces the risk of failure, and allows cumulative benefits to compound over time. Consistent micro-adjustments produce significant long-term effects, transforming minor enhancements into transformative results. Over time, repeated cycles of reflection and refinement create mastery that is durable and adaptable. Feedback from external sources enhances reflection. Colleagues, mentors, peers, or advisors can provide perspectives that may be overlooked internally. Constructive feedback exposes blind spots, challenges assumptions, and offers alternative approaches. Integrating external insight ensures that refinement is not confined to a single viewpoint and benefits from broader experience and expertise. Listening actively and applying relevant input strengthens both the accuracy of reflection and the effectiveness of adjustment. Reflection encourages proactive problem solving, rather than reacting to failures or setbacks after they escalate. Examining processes and outcomes regularly allows early identification of inefficiencies or risks. Anticipating potential issues and making preventative adjustments improves resilience and reduces wasted effort. A mindset oriented toward reflection transforms challenges from reactive crises into opportunities for strategic intervention and learning. Time-based evaluation is effective for refining performance. Daily reflection focuses on immediate actions, behaviors, and short-term goals, ensuring alignment and consistency. Weekly or monthly reviews allow assessment of trends, progress toward larger objectives, and the identification of persistent obstacles. Long-term reflection provides perspective on overall growth trajectory, highlighting achievements and guiding strategic direction. Using multiple timescales ensures comprehensive understanding and balanced refinement. Reflection enhances creativity and innovation. By reviewing actions and outcomes critically, you identify patterns, constraints, and opportunities that may have been previously unnoticed. Analyzing what worked, what failed, and why opens space for new approaches and experimentation. Iterative evaluation stimulates adaptive thinking, encouraging the discovery of more efficient, effective, and novel ways to achieve goals. Refinement thus becomes both corrective and generative, producing continual evolution of strategies and practices. Maintaining consistency in reflection builds a disciplined habit of self-improvement. Regular evaluation reinforces awareness of strengths, weaknesses, and priorities. It cultivates a mindset that values learning and adjustment as integral to daily life, rather than occasional tasks. Habitual reflection ensures that decisions are informed, strategies are intentional, and effort is consistently optimized, transforming routine action into a deliberate high-impact process. Integration of reflection with goal setting reinforces progress. Insights derived from examining past performance inform the creation of future objectives and micro-goals. This creates a continuous loop. Reflection identifies what to improve, refinement implements changes, and subsequent actions are measured against updated goals. Over time, this cycle produces compounding growth, as each iteration builds on lessons learned and adjustments made, ensuring that development accelerates rather than stagnates. Reflection also strengthens resilience. By reviewing challenges, setbacks, and mistakes objectively, individuals recognize that obstacles are part of the growth process rather than personal failures. Understanding past responses to difficulty enhances coping strategies and emotional regulation, allowing more effective navigation of future challenges. The practice of consistent reflection cultivates confidence, adaptability, and Finally, consistent reflection and refinement create a mindset of lifelong learning. Progress is no longer seen as a series of discrete achievements, but as an evolving process of adaptation and improvement. By continuously observing, evaluating, and adjusting, individuals remain responsive to changing circumstances, refine their capabilities, and maximize the impact of their effort. Reflection transforms experience into wisdom, effort into results, and ambition into measurable, sustainable growth, ensuring that every step taken is purposeful, deliberate, and aligned with long-term success.